joined as always by my fantastic co-hosts Eric, Ryan, and Bones. This week we're going to be talking about all things power armor. We're going to try and keep it to as narrow a window as possible, but there is a lot to cover and a lot to talk about. Uh, so, with that, let's jump straight into our nerdy news. Does anybody have anything they would like to jump off on? Who named me Captain Obvious on the thing? I
You
just saw
just now
that. Who
noticed.
did that? Who did that to me?
You are welcome, sir. Um,
I
so
quit.
so so in regards to nerdy news, Void Crew's out. It looks really good. Um, and then the other thing would be the No Man's Sky. Now you can actually have ships that you can have friends
Yep.
on, fully customizable.
Woohoo.
So I'm finding that space exploration is a huge thing now. Maybe because we talk about Mars so much lately, but I'm definitely seeing a lot more games that are space crews working together to do some shit. I actually posted on our Instagram in our story mode something about Void Crew, so check it out. Ooh, and one more thing, everybody. Our website is currently down for maintenance and to make it not shitty. So we are
Yeah,
working
pretty
on
much.
that to update and
Most
bring it back up.
mostly the second one.
Yeah, mostly the second part.
Yeah, no,
We're just making
definitely.
upgrades,
It's
baby. Making upgrades.
Yeah, no, for sure. That way it'll be easier for everybody to click and find whatever they want, source wise and merch and different things. So, yeah, so that's all I got. Yeah, Void Crew, check it out. That looks really good.
Yeah, I was actually going to jump in. You touched on mine that I had already. There was a massive, probably the largest gameplay update that No Man's Sky ever had last week that brought in customizable ships using a similar system, if not identical, to Starfield's ship customization and crafting. Currently, as of yesterday, the No Man's Sky Voyager expedition has started, and it's kind of a fun adventure and semi-tutorial on how to build it and do it, and it's a lot of fun. If you've ever thought about getting into No Man's Sky as a video game, now is the time to do
Fixed my name. The bottom.
it. Other than that, as far as unplugged news, a lot of the spoilers are out for the Spider-Man Magic Gathering set. I'm super excited for. They actually set it up where I can make almost a perfect Sinister Six deck, so very
My
stoked.
That
favorite
goes crazy.
My
Yeah,
favorite thing is the Green Goblin card has no green mana involved at
yeah,
all. That's
not
my
not a single
favorite
one.
thing about Green Goblin. I think it's like
What is
red.
he?
It's like red, blue, black. I think.
Yeah, he's Grixis, or yeah, Grixis. That's right.
Yeah, Grixis. I
Um,
want to say it's red, blue, black.
Additionally, there is a special set of the cards that you can get that are comic art instead of the standard Magic the Gathering art style, which for once I'm ecstatic about. I haven't been this excited for alternate art since probably the Phyrexia set. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm actually
Brexit's
tapped
always
out
cool.
on this one. I blew all of my Magic the Gathering budget money on Final Fantasy cards, and they were worth it. So I'm
zero
gonna have to.
regrets.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to skip the Spider-Man one, sadly. Bones, you got any news?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Marvel's doing a new big storyline called The Age of Revelation.
Oh,
It involves Ramsey. Used to be called Cypher. He was uh, he was in
like
New Mutants originally. You know the guy that
he's the
his
guy
whole
that
thing
can
was languages.
speak all languages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now he can speak. He has the what do they call it, God word or something. He can basically make you do whatever he wants you to do, and he can also speak directly to the Earth, making it like change, and he can essentially terraform anything.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
yeah, so that's
So just stepping into reality warping almost.
yeah, well, sort of, but like just like physically kind of things, but not quite. But he's the heir to Apocalypse.
Oh.
The X virus. Instead of like
Yeah, what
we
did
have
they
the
call it?
X
The
virus.
prodigy? Something like that?
Uh, and so that is starting in October with the issue zero just came out. I don't know, maybe like July. To set the kind of the groundwork in the first
Oh.
book. It's going to be like 16 books over the course of October, and then probably a bunch more after that. It seems like it's going to be for a while. We're going to be dealing with this storyline. Um, so yep, that's it for the comic book news. I wanted to get out of the way. But other thing, Sony did a state of play yesterday, day before, something like that, and
Wednesday.
gave a look at the new 007 game, which is cool. I like 007. I like 007
Yeah.
games. Pretty excited about that.
Showed quite a bit of like gunplay, like shooter style. I was wondering why they didn't focus more on like the spycrafty stuff. They showed a little
Yeah.
bit of it, like some cool gadgets and stuff. I'm hoping once full gameplay and like more gameplay trailers and stuff come out, we see a little more of the sneaky stealth side.
Doug Ramsey. That's his fucking name.
So I
there's
did want
bones
to
coming
jump
in the last one.
I did want to jump in on the comic book stuff. Now, if y'all paid attention to, I think it was our last episode, could be the week before, Free Comic Book Day rolled around, and I wanted to show this pretty little gem that a buddy of mine got, which is the new Def Leppard Hysteria comic, written by Phil Collin and Elliot Rahal. And I am very, very excited about it. So always check out your Free Comic Book Day. It's a good spot.
My bit of nerdy news is actually going to lead. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
No, go ahead. Finish with that, and then I'll read some comments people said.
My news is going to lead us straight into our first portion of the topic. So
Okay, so all right, so a lot of people commented in regards to I posted the actual phases of Magic after our episode. People chimed in on that. The big thing was layers, I guess. They were talking in regards to that in Magic, and I was like, oh, well, we're at some point going to do another episode that's more advanced. I said we'll probably get into that then. It was the vibe proxies, and I'm looking for the other name. He was talking about having PTSD as a judge from layers.
That is a
I was
fact.
like, Jesus. So it's very serious. In the I never played professional Magic, so I would know.
how
then
many
we
long,
also had-
drawn out discussions about the stack have we all had?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when you start talking layers, it's almost, I'd say it's actually worse than trying to discuss the stack. But
People also want us to talk proxies more. And then Squidly Squid on
I like the name.
X.
yeah, great name.
We talked about how Space Marines probably the best, slaughtering lots of stuff. It was a good little talk.
They're efficient. They've got it down to a science.
I mean,
literally.
everybody's got a job. I mean, that's just what it is. Everybody's good at something. I'm good at washing my feet. They're good at just killing everybody. So, things happen.
Weird segue. My bit of nerdy news is Space Marine 2 patch 10 has gone live as of today. So new armor upgrades. I think a new PvE scenario is up. The full path for the next season is already been posted by the devs with Space Marine 2, so you can go look that up on your own. I won't get into a ton of detail. Getting some new champion packs, some new armor packs, colors, customization options, all that fun stuff. I think 3 new weapons are getting released this season.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So
I didn't
yeah,
see any weapons, but yeah, probably.
they're
'cause
getting
there's a
you're
lot.
getting the tech axe. You're getting, I think a new bolter pattern, and then there was one other. You're
just
also getting
excited.
access to like cool new chaos armor and skins, which is going to be dope for people. I'm definitely probably, depending on what it looks like, I may be switching over to a Death Guard look, just because their sculpts are always the coolest.
Death Guard have great sculpts.
They're just the best sculpts in 40K. I can't get over how awesome they are. But that brings us into our discussion of all things power armor this week.
Power armor.
And we're going to be starting off with probably some of the most iconic currently, and talking about Space Marines in the 40K universe.
So
Yeah, it was actually.
One thing we should cover real quick in regards to like power armor, just so people have like a really good understanding of it is, so when we talk power armor, we're talking something that's not a driven thing necessarily. It's more of it moves with you type scenario. So some people mention mechs and different things like that.
Yeah.
And mechs are something you drive. Mechs are the equivalent of like a vehicle. Generally speaking, sometimes they can be a little of both. If you look at like Ryan had mentioned, I can't think of the movie off the top of my head.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, that's kind of a mix of the two. But generally speaking, between anime and science fiction, you are one or the other, and we're just sticking directly with the power armor, mostly because it's cooler than mechs. But it's just my opinion.
I don't know. Mechs
yeah,
can get
just
pretty
people.
cool.
Mechs can get pretty cool. Well, and
It's
one
gonna
other
be pretty
caveat
cool.
that I have to bring up is, guys, we agonized over what patterns and what power armor is going to make it. If there's interest, we are going to cover more of this particular topic. But way out in front, we are not going to be doing Tony Stark. He's probably got the most iconic power armor of all time. We're not covering Tony Stark except for in reference just yet. The rest of them, we tried to pick out a wide range of power armor. Again, trying to avoid anything that you didn't move by moving, which opened up to a much broader category than I anticipated. And so yeah, caveats kind of out of the way. Again, as with every episode, guys, spoilers for any of the following.
I don't know how this
Games?
is going to be a spoiler because this stuff has been going on for a while.
I mean,
Yeah,
well, I don't know. When we get to the last, the second to the last one,
That's
there's
true.
probably some spoilers in that one.
Yeah, if you haven't played those.
Quick question or quick little factoid. First ever confirmed depiction of power armor is 1959 Starship Troopers.
yeah.
That is the first ever like officially mentioned. This is a mobile infantry powered suit. So just a
Which,
cool fact.
Which,
for
yeah,
anybody
and,
that
like,
hasn't read the book, they didn't use that in the movie for whatever reason, and so they're just grunts in the movie. Hooray for Imperial Guard representation! But yeah, in
that
the
was definitely a
books,
fight against Tyranids.
yeah.
Very small Tyranids.
So yeah, great 40K movie, and a movie I love dearly. Not anything like the book, so
I've never read it. I should probably grab it. I
You
guess.
should read it. It's a good book.
You should.
yeah, it's a solid book.
It's a good movie too, in case anybody's
Yeah,
wondering.
I like the movie.
Both are great.
For different reasons.
Yeah,
For different reasons.
But-
But yeah, Space Marines.
Space Marines. Yeah, so we'll start off. Again, this is going to be a very general, very broad overview. This is going to be great big brushstrokes. If you guys want to get into the nitty gritty of it, we can do another episode on that later. So we're just going to start off with what Warhammer 40K power armor is, and then what it takes to be a Space Marine. So the power armor, it's powered by a small nuclear reactor that you wear upon your back. It has exhaust vents on it, which are those big bulbous things you see on the back. It can power a series of attachments and devices. It increases the already prestigious amount of strength and speed possessed by a normal Space Marine to just outrageous levels.
Absurd levels.
It provides a wild amount of protection, as well as providing them just terabytes of information per second, which we'll get into that's going to be part of what it takes to be a Space Marine as it goes on. So yeah, that's pretty much the broadest of broad brushstrokes I can get for.
Yeah, after that, it really kind of gets into a pros and cons list. And I will say, out of all of the power armor we're going to be looking at, I would say that the Space Marine power armor, while it has several distinct drawbacks, is probably the most protective. I mean, you're the equivalent of an Abrams battle tank.
More
It's-
so. It takes. I think it takes more to
I
do
mean,
down Space
I
Marine
would
than an Abrams.
disagree. I would disagree that it is because some of the other ones we talk about literally have like self healing, and whereas you can like heal a little bit in a power armor.
There's-
Space
yeah,
Marine
there's
suit,
no
if you get your arm blown off,
self-repair,
your arm's
yeah.
blown off. Like it's not
Yeah.
coming back.
It's not coming back on. And
The good
while
news.
the suit
The
does
good
have
news is
protections, but
the guy inside it
yeah,
is definitely going to shrug off getting an arm blown off. Like,
For a little
Um,
while, at least.
for a little while.
I think that's actually a good argument. Well, I was looking explicitly at defensive capabilities. The regenerative quality of some of the other armors is extensive compared to this. One thing 40K did that I've always liked is they didn't have prodigious use of a magic metal, right? There's no nth metal or vibranium or adamantine. They are heavy, and moving
Yes.
them around is moving a giant heavy thing. And while they still use a little bit of magic material with the Ceraplate and plasteel and stuff,
Ceramite.
yes, ceramite.
Jesus.
I like the fact they didn't try to be like, oh yeah, like we've discovered this super light, best ever material. Nope, they're fucking heavy.
What's up,
So,
Eric?
so one thing we got to also mention with Warhammer, in regards to the armor, compared to the other ones, is that they have a spiritual component to them sometimes.
Mhm.
Now
Not sometimes.
the
Not
other
so-
three
yeah,
Almost
can
always,
speak,
yeah.
speak much better to this, but when you look at generally power armor most of the time, it's just something you wear. There's not usually most of them don't have the extra. I don't want to say religious component, but like component like that you can't make. So, and from what I understand in regards to religious side of it, like not religious, sorry, spirit things that can inhabit your armor, it can be good or bad. for the Space Marine. As far as I'm tracking, they have literally no control over as to what inhabits their armor. So that does make them more of a wild card than the other ones, because at least you know kind of what you're getting if you get to get in the armors. What's up, Ryan?
Yeah, so that's actually an excellent point to bring up. Now, many of the suits that we're going to be talking about have an AI component or some kind of information display, lots of HUD material, that kind of stuff, especially with open communications. With Space Marine, I think that's probably the thing that differentiates it the most from nearly every other power armor is the fact that it has the machine spirit. And they can be all over the place. And it also is kind of an inbuilt, and you were right, it is a religious factor. But it's an inbuilt thing that keeps your equipment from being repurposed by all but the most like devious of enemies. And so if they take you out on the battlefield, they can't just salvage your armor in most situations.
That's
I think that that's something we definitely need to bring up. Now, I would like to cover like how each set of power armor gets moved and how you plug in, because that's a major drawback with Space Marine armor. But the spiritual component, I think, is what stands out the most as unique.
Travis, you were first.
Yeah, I think one. I think that's a good segue into what it takes to become a Space Marine is the amount of augmentation that you undergo. You are brought almost nearly to the verge of death. In fact, a lot of Space Marine legions, that's one of the requirements: is you die as a warrior, and if proven worthy, they will save your life and then implant the Geed seed in you, which grows a series of new organs, redundant systems, and also gives your brain the ability to process information almost instantly. I think that's something that gets overshadowed a lot in how much tactical information Space Marines consume per second. That helmet provides just insane amounts of information. So, along with muscle augmentation, increased bone density, redundant organs, the ability to spit acid, which never comes
Yeah.
up a lot in
Doesn't
any
come up ever.
story, but you can. You can do, unless you're a Black Templar, you can't spit acid as a Black Templar, so they're hardly Marines. Isn't it the Black Templars? I don't
Yeah,
remember
the
now.
Templar can't spit acid. It's still unclear whether or not it's because they always wear their helmet or if their gland actually atrophied.
Who knows?
But
What's
so
I
yeah,
have to say this while you're doing this, real quick. So, is the guy from the Deadpool movie a knockoff Space Marine?
what guy?
You don't remember the dude that spit acid? He wore the little cups. in his
No,
face?
oh
he-
no,
He's a
no.
mutant. That's way different. That's he was normal sized. You lose all of your hair. You become like 8 feet tall. Well, you become like 7 feet tall out of your armor, and
Like 12 in your armor.
you're like 9 to 10. Primaris are closer to the 10 side. Regular Marines are like between 8 and like I want to say it's like 7.5 to 8.5 feet tall, but still big, right? You also get yoked out of your mind. Your arms actually lengthen. You become weirdly disproportionate out of your armor.
Yep.
And then it super juices your brain. After all of that happens, they then implant a series of devices in your skin so that when you're wearing your armor, specifically like your Black Carapace armor and stuff like that,
Black Carapace.
which is the undersuit that goes underneath your power armor as a Space Marine, you can then feel it as an extension of your skin. So when something clanks or brushes or bumps against your armor, you feel it. It's almost like extending your nerve endings out, which to me is a wild thing because I couldn't imagine wearing armor and then feeling all of it when something shoots you in the chest. Like,
Bones, you had a hand?
Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, the Black Carapace I think is like one of the most important things to touch on here because again, that is one of the things that makes this pretty unique. But also, in regards to like it, every suit of armor is a religious relic, and they
Every
do their
one of them.
damnedest to recover them from the battlefield. Like some of these, because it's like if you die, they want your gene seed and they want your armor because that armor is going to be given to the next Marine that comes up.
yeah,
Yep.
you're probably
and sometimes-
there's very few Space
sometimes-
Marines that get it new.
Sometimes they get haunted, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and for most of it, they can't make more. Like this
Yeah.
is what you got. So
They still make
they can make some, but there are certain marks and patterns that it's just
well,
lost.
nobody wants Mark 1 armor anymore because it's not even hermetically sealed. You
Thunder
can't
Warrior
spacewalk-
armor?
Yeah, you can't
oh,
spacewalk
wait,
in Mark 1.
quick question. Are Terminators power suits or mechs?
Boy, that is a blurry ass line. It's kind of like the dreadnoughts, right? Because technically
Dreadnoughts are a
you don't
mech.
move. Yeah,
Yep.
you don't move to power it.
Dreadnoughts
It's
a
just a
mech.
brain stuck on a machine.
No, there's
But
sometimes a torso in there too, so don't even get all weird about it. All right, there's usually most of a person inside a dreadnought.
but like
Jesus.
Terminators, like you barely moving is what tells the suit to move.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, you're still technically putting your arms through it,
So
but your arms aren't going
Futurama.
all the way down to the hand portion of it, is my thing, and your legs aren't going all the way down to the foot portion of it either, which is
But yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
so a
That's
bit
a
of
wild
both.
one.
Terminators are a bit of both.
a little both.
so we got to do a little bit with weapons because we're going long with armor. Because
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they
yeah.
have the best and most interesting armor, in my
Well,
opinion.
and the most
not
extensive
necessarily
stories. So
not the most fight winning.
Where were we at?
Possibly,
Oh,
but you
Black
know.
Carapace allows you to interface with your armor, which again provides you all that data. You don't aim in the same way you traditionally aim your weapons in power
Yeah.
armor because the big shoulder pauldrons, which are rounded and gigantic, which actually provide a significant amount of protection. A lot of people shrug off how effective round surfaces are at deflecting projectile weaponry.
To the point where the entire suit is curved.
Yeah.
Like
There's
everything
not
about it.
there's very few flat surfaces on Space Marine armor.
Which makes it
So
a
yeah,
bitch to
you
paint.
it does make it a bitch to paint.
But
So
the
yeah,
aiming
you
is
aim
interesting.
literally from the hip, and it's an interface between your tactical readout that you're getting into your helmet, or if you're a particularly seasoned Space Marine and decide not to wear your helmet to get bonus XP, which is a little nod towards the tabletop game. You have
Okay.
to. Everything has to be fired from the hip.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
And
that's
there's
honestly
not a single piece of Space Marine weaponry that like a regular person could fire safely or operate for that matter. Their swords are outrageously large and heavy. There's no chance you're running an assault cannon without having it mounted on something.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think that touches on the largest downside to the way the Space Marines work. And that's that despite the fact that the authors at the Black Library have some fun with it sometimes, I'm looking at every story about Gabriel Angelos ever. You're not a finesseful character. You are not doing backflips. You struggle to climb. Like you are not highly mobile.
Why
Are you
climb
fast?
something when you can knock it
Just
down?
go through it. Are you fast? Absolutely. You're fast in the same way a drag racer is fast. Go in
You're
a
fast
straight
the same
line.
way a train is fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You stop about as well too.
Yep.
But they're not mobile. In fact, they can't lift their arms up basically above their chest. Getting above your head, you have to lean backwards. They are heavily armored and act like it. Again, kudos to Warhammer for their lore. That's their biggest downside other than the complexity of the armor itself. Because you need like 5 pieces on top of being genetically altered and cybernetically upgraded to pilot the thing.
You're not
Um,
piloting. You're physically manipulating. Piloting is for mechs. We made that distinction very early in
So
this
just so
episode.
everybody's tracking, the shock factor of this particular armor is just the extensive kind of amount of extra it takes to be in it. So it makes it very hard for just anybody to use it, because we're going to kind of cover the shock factor with all the armors because there is a little bit with all of them. And I think that even though you get all these extra organs and things, I do think our next armor's shock factor is a little bit higher. But Space Marines is nuts. Yeah, so you two, and then we got to move on.
Yeah, so I mean, talking about the shock factor, 1 out of every 1,000 candidates gets accepted to have the gene seed, and out of those, the most successful chapters are talking about 1 out of every 10,000 that survives the initial implantation process. So that doesn't even get you to full-fledged Space Marine. That gets you to the initiate stage. Making it to a Space Marine is literally 1 out of millions. The reason they can afford to do this is because the Imperium Man's solution to every problem is to throw more people. That is how the Imperium of Man
Good way
has
to do it.
survived, is by volume of individuals. That is how they will continue to survive in the lore, because you can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs.
a few
Few dozen.
thousand eggs a day, a few million
Yeah.
eggs a day. So shock factor, and I hate to be the one to close out Space Marines because we could go over this a lot. Something to bear in mind is that in the setting, Space Marines are not even close to being viewed as human. They are viewed as divine entities, as angels. And so when they come down on an orbital strike with a pillar of fire around them, and then they're immune to every weapon that's ever been invented on your planet, yeah, their shock factor has been reinforced by a psychological warfare almost 10,000 years old,
They
saying
also
that they are angels.
project like a superhuman aura that sometimes makes regular people go insane.
Yeah, but that's related to the Space Marines themselves, not the
Yeah,
armor.
that's
We're
not the
talking about
armor.
the shock factor of the
Yeah.
armor, the fact that it literally is bonded to you as well, and you have to be severely augmented to wear it. Which also brings us into kind of the next armor.
Yep, because it's the same process, kind of.
Yeah, except for like less, but you
Yeah.
know, it's still
Yeah,
cool.
I feel like I feel like it's slightly more pleasurable experience.
Talking about Halo's Mjolnir armor and the Spartan
Yeah.
2 program.
So the
this
Mark
one,
6 Mjolnir.
yeah, Mark 6 or no, Mark 7, I think, isn't it?
Is Mark 7?
That's
I
that's
want to
Mark
say
3.
7 is what Spartan 2s were.
But yeah, it's either Mark 6 or Mark 7. But I mean, honestly, it's cool. I like Halo a lot. It also revolves a lot. Like normal people can't wear their armor just because of the feedback, the neural feedback, and the mechanical power. Literally would break your bones. So that'd be fun, you know. Just put that on. And just, oh fuck, I'm dead.
It's that scene from Iron Man where the guy in Hammer like twists the torso all the way around.
Yep.
Mark 6, by the way, is yeah.
Okay, so Mark 7 is the most recent, like the video game, I think.
Yeah, the Mark 6 I know is what John wore. So
yeah, Mark 6 was for Halo 2 and 3. He wore the Mark 5 during Halo 1.
And now there's like the whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's not even talking about like Gen 3 marks and the prototypes and shit. So
Yeah, they did a lot of like different testing and stuff like that. This is where I give a lot of credit to like the Halo universe. They're very good at adapting and doing things. So like when you look at their armor, it's pretty cool. Like everybody's mentioned, their augmentation process is different. There was no extra organs. Generally speaking, I actually disagree more with the Halo process than the Space Marines, just because they kept their people around when the augmentation, if it failed, I'm gonna guess that Space Marines just killed theirs. But they still did.
Yeah, you don't survive.
You
If
just
it fails, you die.
Yeah, you die in agony because it's a terribly painful process.
No, I think it's a worse process like that, but I mean like in the sense of like, so with Spartan program, the only thing I remember correctly is like they would do a lot with your bones, so they would have to make them more dense and longer. So Space Marines, yes, well, still much taller. Spartans were still taller than your average human, and that was the only thing. Like the big thing with their augmentation, and I found it to be obviously not quite as severe as the Space Marines. So Brian.
So when it comes to the Mjolnir armor, there are several things that make it stand out as far as in comparison goes, but something to remember when we're dealing with Mjolnir versus like Space Marines, right? I don't think a Spartan is going to stand his ground against any Space Marine, like at all. But what they did do is they designed the armor for the enemy they were wanting to fight. The Mjolnir armor, specifically the Mark V and later, was designed for maximum mobility with maximum protection. So they kind of met the needles in the middle. And so you'll find a lot more of your standard mesh and muscular augmentation in this power armor that bonds to you. Now, with every super soldier, you're going to get bone density and muscle density as almost a stock minimum. And again, the Spartans had that in spades. No extra organs or anything like that, but they did have cybernetic implants and a lot of stuff to help control with the feedback of the AI of the suit. And after that, they designed for speed, mobility, and protection.
Yeah.
Now,
Also, there's like the big difference between your machine spirit in the Space Marine armor versus an actual AI in your Halo armor, like Cortana. Cortana's definitely better than a machine spirit. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, and I think
however,
the other thing
Cortana
was
suffered the same problem that AI suffered in Warhammer 40K, and it eventually became a bad guy. Yeah.
But the
They did
kicker
solve
is
that, though.
the reason they managed to cut down on so much bulk for their armor is they were dealing with weapons that didn't give a shit about bulk. Like any energy weapon that you're dealing with, whether it's sustained beam or plasma, the amount of ablative steel, so to speak, you have on you is now meaningless. And so they want you to dodge, not get hit. Which is why The Mjolnir set of armor has the one thing that Space Marines do not have usually, an energy
Void
shield.
shield.
Yeah.
Energy shield, void shield. I use the Warhammer term.
But yeah, not a lot of Space Marines carry that. Some do with the Iron Halos and some of the other protectorates, but yeah, in the Spartans, everybody had the projector on them, the generator on them, and I think that is it. Don't get hit, dodge it, you fool.
Yeah, go for cover instead of be cover.
Yeah. Now, yeah, in regards, I think that everything about the Mjolnir armor is more specific than the Space Marine armor. They designed it for a purpose, but they also limited it and compared, because I mean, you're talking maximum 7 feet tall even in your armor. So they're going for a very narrow, smaller profile, and you are based more around your energy shields than you are your actual ablative plates.
Right.
They
Now,
didn't have those for a while in the beginning either. So like when they originally made it, it was just to deal with other humans and a lot of the sort of rebellions going around everywhere. And eventually it sort of adapted and got better because they started running into the aliens with obviously the energy weapons like Ryan's talking about and stuff like that. And they eventually killed one without blowing it to fuck and got a shield. And Halsey, which is the X factor to me in regards to if Space Marines and Halo Spartans fought, she quickly adapted that and was able to do something with it to make it a lot better. So Travis, you were first.
I get you that Halsey's a genius. I'm not going to dispute that. I don't think, from a technological standpoint, even if it was dogmatic as the Imperium of Man has goes, without just generations of time to like research and develop things, I don't think Halsey just off the cuff comes up with a counter for that level of armor in the Space Marine. Because, like I said, she is a genius. They do have access to energy
have
weapons.
Evidence.
yeah,
We
we
have
do have
evidence
evidence to this.
of this happening in Warhammer, like a society coming from backwoods nothing to super advanced.
The Tau.
Really quick. Yes, so
Right.
it's possible.
But even the Tau was over thousands of years compared to
Yeah.
the Imperium of Man's like millennium, thousands upon thousands of years, right? The Tau still took several thousand years to get from where they were to where they were at. And I think in a fight between the Halo universe and the Imperium of
Don't
Man
get me wrong.
from
I'm with you.
40K, yeah,
Warhammer's smashing Halo
yeah,
nine
there's
times
just-
out of 10.
they have war crimes figured out in the Warhammer universe.
that's
like, they
really
pretty
the
much
kicker.
mastered.
Like, they will win. They don't care how. There's still like
Yeah.
rules of engagement for Spartans and shit.
Yeah.
If nothing
that
else,
little-
they'll just throw bodies at it until it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that gets me to my point in regards to your statement, Eric. I don't think you're wrong. I think Halsey is capable of doing some amazing stuff. I think that she might be. Well, so Halo was 2551. You're looking at this point in time, the Emperor of Mankind was just moving into the Thunder Warrior stage. So she's at 2551.
What?
30th millennium, something like
I was
that.
scratching my eye.
Any
We're-
case, so we may not even be at Thunder Warrior stage. So if you
No, we're
took,
like the dawn of AI.
yeah, if you took Mankind in 2551 from Warhammer 40K and put them up against the Spartans, Spartans smash ass. Like, no holding them back. And I'd be interested to see what the Halo universe looks like in the year 40,000, or 41,999,
It's just a
wherever we
present.
are.
Yeah.
Halsey's research was the baseline for the Emperor's Super Soldier program.
I'm now going to canonize that, because her use of AI is what led to the Iron Men in the Dark Ages.
that's
Shit. So it'd be like the Emperor is actually like a 10th generation Spartan or something.
yeah,
Makes sense.
head canon. It's canon.
head
I'm writing
cannon
it down.
done.
Yeah, it's
but
Warhammer. Everything's canon. Warhammer.
Here's the thing: Halsey was dedicated to the Spartan program, right? She had no ulterior motives, nothing else going on.
Mhm.
That's what she loved. When you look at post Emperor 40K, the Emperor, he was using him for a purpose. He wanted to conquer the universe. After he went down, most of their technology and control and ultimate creation of the Primaris system went to Belisarius Cawl, and he's a psychopath. Like, he cares about his work because he wants to see how far it'll go.
Yeah, I mean, Halsey
Um,
did some shady shit too, though. Like, you got to remember, like, and we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
But so, like,
Yeah.
basically, in
Mjolnir
regards
armor.
to like Mjolnir armor, the AI is a big upside to it compared to like Spartan armor and Space Marine armor.
Because you're
Now,
not having to
obviously,
process all
Yeah,
that
you don't have to
information. The
think.
Space Marines having to process all that information. Your AI
Um,
is doing a lot of the tactical readout for you inside the Mjolnir armor, which is a huge advantage because that lets you focus on things like not being shot. Which
It's
yeah,
is
that's
also
very
important.
nice.
it's
Yeah, I
also a
feel like
lot
important step.
easier to get into and out of because like you can
Yeah.
manage your own armor as a Spartan. A
And you're
Space Marine
still human.
cannot manage their own armor. They can't put it on, they can't take it off. Like, and you still have the same, and I'm going to bring this up here. The first two groups that we selected with the Space Marines and Mjolnir, the thing that they have in common that the other ones usually do not is sealed environment. You can wear these bitches out in space.
The Crisis armor can be. It's
Is it a
sealed. It's
sealed?
got a it's got a
Oh.
rebreather system. It's not space worthy.
The Crisis armor can, in fact, survive on alien ships. So
Oh, fantastic. Well, that's another one because that's
Yeah,
a
but it
fairly
can't. It
common
can't
thing.
survive in the vacuum, can it?
I actually would place my money that it probably could.
Oh.
This whole thing is that it is an extremely that's the point of
Adaptable.
the Crisis armor is that it adaptable, like to the point like it absorbs other creatures' DNA
Yeah.
to adapt
All right,
to
hold on.
what they're doing.
We got to finish
Yeah.
up Mjolnir.
Before we move on to Crisis, yeah.
But
Additionally, with the Mjolnir armor compared to Space Marines power armor, especially the Mark 10, like 7, 8, and 10, the Mjolnir armor has an internal power source. It is not an exposed power source like you find on even Terminator armor. And it runs on a complex system of sci-fi-ness that, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like cold fusion or whatever.
Really super good AAAs.
Yeah.
you guys saw
But
the
I think,
rabbit.
yeah, I think that is the main benefits of the Mjolnir compared to the Aquila pattern Space Marine armor is that it's an internal power source. It's much more protected. It's meant for high mobility, and you can take it off and put it on by yourself. Like you don't need an entire contraption on a throne ship surrounded by servitors to put it
You
on.
mean a cult? You don't need a cult to put your.
So yeah, that's the main thing to me with Spartans is it easy? No, it's still power armor, but you can.
Yeah. And they do. Like, there's a big scene in the book where he takes it off by himself in a camp on a fucking planet because the commander or whatever the unit makes him, and he does it, and he has to walk around with no power armor, so he's similar to everybody else. I mean, he still wasn't.
Another similarity between the two is there's in fact an undersuit to the Mjolnir power armor. It requires. It does have mesh connecting the plates and stuff. I forget what their undersuit's called.
Liquid crystal and like a plasma layer.
Yeah. So again, it has an under armor portion that goes on before you put on the actual armor. And so just some of its capabilities just to go off of it. So big thing, rechargeable shield, right? Your shield will regenerate after it takes a series of damage. Big advantage. Strength wise, it's going to be below power Warhammer power armor. You're
just
talking
raw,
about, like maybe I think Spartans, they said, were about 5 times the strength of a normal human compared to
5,000.
Yeah, a gorilla on steroids wearing full plate.
Yeah.
Just to give a rough description of what it's like to be a fucking Space Marine.
Well, and that's about as much as they have to literally think too. They have a dogmatic drive that controls any of their like decision making, and so you're an intelligent gorilla, but you're a gorilla.
Yeah, with a shotgun, wearing full plate.
So yeah, the hydrostatic gel and the liquid metal crystal. There's a word. Piezoelectric layer on the Mjolnir suits, I think, is kind of brilliant.
Both can be environmentally sealed. I feel like the purifiers on both are going to be pretty equal as far as air purifier goes, because you very rarely hear of any like poisons or toxins getting through their armor. It may in fact be better because, no, because that delves into the realm of magic when you start talking about Nurgle diseases.
Yeah,
it's got a little
ultimately
magical
we can
superpower
summarize
behind it. So
we can summarize the real strengths for this one is the ability to solo mission is much higher and rechargeable void energy shields.
Oh, Physical manipulation of objects. You can pick up
Yeah.
and dexterily move things.
You can
with
type.
normal-sized fucking fingers as
That
opposed
is
to
a
the
pretty big
great
pro,
big
if I'm being
hams.
honest.
Yeah.
You can type on
Also-
a keyboard.
Also, you can take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to don it
in
yourself.
any
is
given
tough.
day, you could just
Yeah.
take it off and not wear armor. That'd be pretty nice if you're, not in the
Space
middle
Marines
of war.
can technically not wear armor. It's
Oh.
just a 5 to 6 hour process to take it off.
Well, that's what I was
Nano-
going to say.
Nano composite is the suit underneath the Mjolnir. It's nano composite.
So that's the last big thing I'll say that I give it to Halo over Space Marines is the singularity in the sense of like they're still more human.
Aesthetically speaking, I say it would be more comfortable to wear Spartan armor than power armor.
Oh yeah.
But you
Mostly
wouldn't
because my
care at that
skin wouldn't
stage.
itch. Because
But
there's
you
no
wouldn't
like
care.
sensory extension to the outside.
Well, and actually, over 80% of the total cost of creation for a Mjolnir set of armor is the knitted crystal computer memory layer, which allows your AI to partially influence your nerves and body. And it's a lot more comfortable than just congratulations, you're in metal.
Yeah, we've
And
turned
so,
your
yeah.
brain into a supercomputer, and now you're wearing a tank.
Yeah.
Oh well, speaking of comfort, I feel like that's a pretty good spot to talk about our next suit.
Yep,
Which I
the
feel
next
like would
one-
be the most comfortable out of all of them on our list.
Well, we'll talk about. Yeah, so I know y'all aren't as
It'll
familiar
make
with
you
Crisis.
comfortable.
I love
Oh.
Crisis. I played the shit out of it. Actually, like I was talking about, I actually have a friend that worked on it, so
Oh,
big
nice.
fan.
I got
yeah,
Crisis
you know,
confused with Prototype, so I did the research the wrong direction at first.
Oh, to start us off, we are moving into Crisis the game, discussing the Crynet Nano suit. Continue.
this
Both
one-
versions 1.0 and 2.0.
Actually, there's three. There's three Crises.
Oh, there's
There's-
3
by
now?
by the third one, it's fucking. I'm pretty sure you can survive in space. So initially, I mean, first of all, so the Crisis suit is almost a symbiote. I mean, it essentially is a symbiotic suit. It bonds to its wearer,
Yeah, it's basically
um,
symbiote.
and it is semi-intelligent as well. It's actually like kind of it's nanomachines, but like I said earlier, kind of nanomachines in a organic case, so to speak. So they bond directly with their wearer, and it's not exactly sure why some people work and some people don't theorize that it's genetic. Mostly because the people that made it were using alien tech and didn't know what the fuck they were doing, really.
That's a pretty big point. Yeah,
I was
we
just
plugged
out
it
there
in and it turned
yeah.
on. So
So here I was with
So-
my hammer.
It bonds to the wearer, and like so you're not taking it off. But also, I mean, it is nanomachines, so in a sense, it's kind of like Iron Man's
the
bleeding edge. Yeah.
which is
Second
just
skin.
a tech symbiote. So
Yeah. So in that sense, yeah, I do think it would be way more comfortable because like the whole thing about it is, like I mentioned earlier, being adaptable. It lets you survive in basically any environment, jungles, and it lets you survive underwater, which I think is also a pretty good indication that you can at least survive in the vacuum for a short amount of time.
absolutely.
It is powered by a nano reactor core initially, in the 1.0 version. Okay, so you have one guy wearing it in the first Crisis. He bonds to it. It rewrites his DNA. It does, the typical things that these things do. Gives you speed, gives you strength. There's armor, bullets, bulletproof to an extent, and there's also an integrated cloaking system, which is
That's
a
the
big advantage.
That's the big one.
Also, though, the speed does give you enough speed to dodge bullets, so that is pretty significant. I think that it is definitely the fastest armor on our list so far.
Yeah, absolutely. No
Oh,
contest
yeah,
to that.
without a doubt.
What's up, Travis?
I was just gonna mention the time limit as a downside
Yeah, okay.
for the Crisis suit.
Yeah, so it gives you those sort of four kind of augments. It gives you strength, speed, armor, and cloaking, but it can only focus on one at a time. So you get a little bit of the other ones, but it only really powers one at a time. So if you're cloaked, you're not as strong, you're not as fast, your armor's not as good. And then because it's the reactor, it's kind of limited on how it can operate in the 1.0 version.
Well, and the
Okay.
1.0 had additional stuff because like you needed external peripherals for things like your rebreather, your visor, that kind of stuff that wasn't necessarily integrated into the suit.
Yeah. Then so 2.0 is Crisis 2. You get your initial guy that had the suit. He essentially dies and passes it to another person, but the suit retains his consciousness, which
Woo!
is something the other suits literally, I mean, they can't do to the extent that literally retains his consciousness. And this is important
yeah.
to mention later. So the second guy has the suit. It's better now. It has now upgraded itself to be able to absorb alien energy and alien DNA biomass to recharge itself and upgrade itself. So it starts becoming way better. And you could switch between things on the fly, like way faster than before.
Well, additionally, the cloaking module moved to sound suppression.
Yeah.
And that was a major boon too, and could last longer. So,
What's up, Travis?
So you're telling me the Crisis suit absorbed or consumed somebody's personality and brain functions and now functions off of consuming biomass.
oh god, it's a Tyranid.
I was gonna say it's a Tyranid.
Well,
Not
actually,
quite, not quite.
Not quite.
So
But-
it didn't consume his personality. That's okay. So we're gonna get into the 3.0 now. The guy who's wearing the armor in the 2.0 in Crisis 2 is mortally wounded, and so in the third one, you are now the suit repairs the mortal wound and keeps the body alive. But something, I don't know, there's a lot of theories about what happened to that guy's personality, but it's gone. And the suit puts the first guy's personality, his consciousness, into that guy's body.
Ooh, oh
Body
dear,
snatcher.
that's a lot of. Oh no,
I don't want to wear one of those.
that's
sounds
terrifying.
Also,
It
in the
reminds me-
3.0, it becomes a self-sustaining organism. Like it can essentially.
It no longer needs a pilot.
It can metabolize energy just from the environment. Like, so the nanoreactor is not really that relevant anymore.
So it reminds me very much. I'm gonna deviate into a suit of power armor we didn't select for today's episode, and I'm gonna talk about Fallout for a second. Now Fallout's power armor's got its whole thing. I'm not gonna get into that. But what this reminds me of is in Fallout New Vegas, the environmental suits that were designed were like if you got wounded as a soldier, it'd walk you back home. And so now in the Fallout universe, they're just walking around with a skeleton inside them while the suits continue to function. That's what this reminds me of. And that is terrifying.
That's a little terrifying, yeah.
I mean,
So-
it's a good way to get a free suit.
So let's talk about the
yeah.
ups and downsides to the Crisis suit. Now, which one do you think is probably the most relevant in comparison here, Bones? The 1.0, the 2.0?
I mean,
I
by the
think
time
each one gets
I don't know what the
featured in
time
each game,
time
yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the time line of Crisis is actually, but I'm assuming it's way before Halo.
Yeah,
So let's say Crisis 3, the
Crysis
3.0 suit.
3.0. So the one thing I noticed is that it uses kind of a fibrous instead of ablative plating. It uses kind of a fibrous armor that seems to function as additional muscle mass for
Yeah.
the user. And again, this one, when I'm reading through just kind of the keynotes here, this is very much a tech symbiote, from what I understand. To the point where putting it on and taking it off is just asking it nicely to do so.
No, there's no taking it off.
Oh, it bonds to you. That's what. Yeah. And I see that as a major upside because you're right. This would be the most comfortable suit to wear because you're just naked, effectively, right? Like it becomes you. It's just your external layer. You're naked running around. You don't get more comfortable than that. So.
And it modulates the comfort.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it zaps. It modulates everything. Yeah.
But imagine if you made it mad.
Gets to squeeze in the right parts.
It
Or heat
traps
you up.
It traps you in whatever prison it eats consciousnesses off of.
It's like there's
what
the
happens when you
pilot has
upset-
never been
Yeah.
never been relevant. It's just the suit that needs the muscle or the skeletal.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we know
just
that
a
at
meat
least
puppet.
somewhat it needs a conscious person, because otherwise it wouldn't have put the consciousness into
Oh, true.
the body. So it's not completely a completely sentient organism.
Well, it's
Well,
not
thank
infinite,
God.
but I will say my favorite thing about it
Yeah,
is how
thank God.
it's reactive.
Yeah.
So it's it's going to adjust to whatever conditions you're putting it through, which is super handy for, kind of a jack of all trades. I mean, there's situations in the game where it learns that to create a rebreathing or an atmosphere filtering based on where you're at. The guy finds out that he could sit underwater for like 10 minutes without having to come up for air, which again is astronomical when you're comparing it to just base level humanity.
Yeah.
Actually,
to,
just
with zero
random
training
aside,
to just 10-minute.
a guy just broke the record doing like 29 minutes underwater.
Yeah, I read about that. Crazy bastard.
Can anyone on this podcast hold their breath for more than 2 minutes?
Probably
No.
not.
Ain't
Yeah.
no way.
Eric's
I'm a
like,
heavy
I can, but I
smoker,
pass out and then crash the truck.
I'm a heavy smoker.
Man.
I can't hold my breath for 2 minutes. You serious?
Ryan's struggling to make it to 30 seconds.
I got winded coming downstairs, man. Like, but
Turn
yeah,
around
no,
too fast to get a Coke. Had to take a breather.
it's also interesting to me that the suit seems to be entirely capable of integrating other technology into itself,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
it has the same adaptability upsides that you get with the other power suits, where like, well, with the Space Marines at least, you can kind of add and take away things to your suit, right? You can wear a different helmet, or you can use different bits and pieces to function in certain ways. Mjolnir armor does not do that. It is not sideways compatible. You get the suit you're in to the point where even the Mark 6 and the Mark 5 are not compatible functions. Then you have the Krynet suit, which I dug up an AK-47 in the field in Russia. It seems to work okay, and it just integrates it. And that's
And
wild
also
to me.
alien tech. It can just scoop up alien weaponry and then recreate it out of its little like nano.
Not only that, but it's like diseases and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You got Nurgles like
Yeah.
well, you might get sick for a minute or two until you can absorb it, and now I'm immune.
But then it's recoded your DNA, and eventually you will become a Nurgle
Now-
or a Plague Walker.
I'm curious because when you look at the 1.0, I say this is a downside of every suit that we've seen so far, and I guess it is, but it talks about how the onboard heads-up display includes energy levels, the satellite view minimap, weapon ammunition count. By the time it gets to the 3.0, can it manufacture ammunition?
No, I don't. I mean, in theory, like it could, but not.
But wouldn't that deplete
Deplete its mass?
Yeah, it's going to deplete your mass.
But as long as you had other organic, because it can take other organic matter.
Oh yeah, and just turn it into stuff.
It's a Tyranid. This is 100% a Tyranid.
This is a Tyranid, man.
This is a Tyranid.
So yeah,
Well-
I think the biggest downside of the cryo suit is like, are you still you?
Yeah.
Right? There's no
how much
telling.
of you is still in this suit?
And in regards to like all the suits, this is probably the one with the somewhat good shock factor because maybe you're still human, maybe you're not, but you don't have to get augmented and possibly die to put the shit on.
That's true.
Yeah.
This could just be
So-
given to any Marine. Like,
So, well, they do try to like it
has
is
to be-
a
it
there's more
only
to
bonds
it.
with some people. So
Yeah.
Eh,
There's a chance
There's a
you're going to get
compatibility.
denied. Yeah, you're going to be
some
denied
people
by the suit.
are rejected violently.
I mean,
so
it
don't push your luck.
And you do have to have some training to use it too. Like it's not
Yeah.
something like if it jumped onto me and liked me, I wouldn't just be good at anything with it. I would still have because of the I don't have some
It's-
insane amount of training. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
would
still
just be a
manipulated
really
the
good
same way that a
drinker.
piece of equipment
I'd be a really good
Yes.
drinker.
So
as
I
it
do know that
filters
it has
toxins for you.
one
Yeah,
serious
see?
downside is that it is EMP susceptible, and high voltage electricity susceptible.
For
Pikachu.
now,
Not
For
taking
now,
that,
yeah.
not taking that plasma bolt to the chest from the Mjolnir or the Warhammer.
Yeah, that's true. They won't be getting
Marines.
that.
Well, I think that's a good segue to go to our most realistic on our list,
Yep,
and that is the
definitely the
Exo
most realistic.
armor from
Edge of Tomorrow.
which is a Tom Cruise movie. Has some timey-wimey stuff in it, but that's pretty base, like realistic power armor. It's increasing your strength and mobility. It has mounting points for weaponry. It is probably the least protective out of everything on this list, if I'm being
Oh,
honest.
yep.
You can
Let me
definitely
jump in
still
right
get
there.
aced.
So we are discussing the heavy exo power suit designed by Pierre Bohanna, which is just an exoskeleton. It weighs 135 pounds. They take about 5 months to build, and they are designed to replace you, not enhance you. Your muscles and your bones no longer take the strain because the suit does, and
Everything.
it lets you do cool stuff.
Better, stronger, faster.
Better, stronger, faster.
But you can still take a bullet to the dome.
Yeah,
but
there's
you can
no
still
energy
get,
shields.
Yeah, you're
There's
still
no
getting clapped in this stuff. Like, it's definitely out of the power ranking. This is definitely fourth.
Oh yeah.
By a landslide. It's so far behind that it's getting lapped by these other power armors. But in a realistic sense, say if we put this up against anything modern technology comparable, is going to be pretty advanced, right?
It's pretty good.
Yeah. With an enhanced exo, so you can carry heavier weaponry, larger loads, you can more equipment, bigger gun.
See, I was going to click my raise my hand button. This is the precursor to me for what eventually ends up as the Mechanicus on Mars. Because you're talking about this exosuit acts as a frame that you can control through movement, where you can load rocket launchers on shoulder mounted turrets. You can have flamethrowers, additional weaponry. It acts as additional prehensile limbs if certain upgrades are put on. And yeah, this is.
Well, of course, Ryan's into that. He could have a tail or a tentacle.
But it shoots lasers.
Ryan's like, I want a laser shooting tentacle. I want it to come out of the back of my head.
And while we see some of that capability come out of the other suits to a small extent, with this one in its minimalist design, it's just a frame for you to tailor your own personal needs on the battlefield.
You're not trading haymakers with this suit.
Yeah, you are not trading haymakers. You're not going to outrun this suit, despite the fact it looks like a giant bulky mess. It's fast. It's very fast. So you're not going to outrun it. You're not going to outstrength it. You can shoot it. If you shoot the guy in the head, he's going to die still. That's a thing.
No.
But if you're trying to fight it conventionally, that's the only shot you got. And all he has to do beyond that is start layering on armor, because it doesn't matter how much gear he's carrying, the suit carries it. And so
yeah, I think in the show you can still bring him down with like enough shots and stuff to the body, because you can't protect every single inch and still be mobile, right?
Yeah.
Things like shrapnel, stuff like that is still going to be very effective. Again,
Explosions.
Obviously, explosions
Yep.
Kill several of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Fragmentation, shrapnel.
Well, and then enough repeated hits to the armor on a chest cavity, like even with their armor, is still going to be distributed against ribs and things like that. So you're going to run the risk of like punctured lungs, cracked sternums. If you get hit, in the chest at the right spot, it can just straight up stop your heart, even if it doesn't penetrate through the armor. So still very vulnerable compared to the others on this list. Eric?
The biggest thing I wanted to see this on the list, and like when I was doing some research into power armors and stuff like that, is just because a lot of people don't know about it. And also like, yeah, it's like how advanced we got without any outside interference. Like, as much as those other three armors are really cool, there was outside interference at some point
Yeah.
that helped people kind of get to the next step. So like there was some sort of influence outside of just humans that kind of made all these armors a little bit better than what they were. Because
the Mark I's the base for the deals, and that was a pattern from Terra before.
Well, that's true, but that's
expansion
not the Spartan
into space.
But that's not
The
the Spartan
Emperor
armor
is
that
barely fucking human.
Yeah, but
he's not human.
But the Mark I wasn't just used by the Emperor; it was also used by the Techno Barbarians. They were on an equivalent level.
But it doesn't matter, because they said to get where it is. Like,
Oh, no.
sure. It started as like human, but like now it's definitely not.
It's been influenced by
other things.
And like a lot of Xenotech has gone into it.
That's what I'm saying. So like if you look at like the base armor of like from that movie, that armor is actually pretty decent when you compare it to the original armor for the Mjolnir or the Mark. Like when you start comparing it to those original armors, it's not that bad off, considering it had no outside influence other than just human ingenuity and the fact that they needed to kill some fucking aliens before everybody died. So in the small span of time, they were able to make such an relatively impressive armor. I mean, the firepower it puts out, its accuracy, the HUD, all of that was really nice, and it was done rather quickly.
Terribly far away from exosuits being a reality.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not to the extent of like Edge of Tomorrow, but exosuits are, already in field testing, talking about, muscle reinforcement more than increase being the big one, where it's like you don't strain your muscles as hard, so it's less apt of like pulling a muscle, throwing a back out, things like that when you do lifting and twisting and stuff like that. Reactive armor is already a thing that exists.
Oh yeah.
Getting it down to small scale is obviously going to be a huge challenge, but yeah, I mean,
But-
we're not just leaps and bounds away from an exosuit on the battlefield being a reality.
I absolutely agree, and I think that is the major point to take away from this one. Is it does appear to be the most realistic of any armor we've
Oh,
designed.
for sure.
You know, even every other armor we talked about needed nearly divine entities to design it, or the acquisition of alien technology and a wildly um, intelligent scientist. And then Crynet, the Crynet suit is hard for me to even describe because I don't even know how it was built. Like it just
It's
exists.
Co-opted alien technology.
Yeah,
It's
and
Venom.
so this
It's
is
mad.
just.
It's mad scientist level stuff.
But this is just humans fighting humans, and bear in mind, this is just the baseline that we see in the movie, right? This is just the frame with a few attachments. Ultimately, you could customize and design a modular system for this frame that you could adapt to any situation. If you need to be a space marine, cool. You lash on 1,500 pounds of fucking plate and slowly walk towards the bad guy. Eventually, the suit will be able to take it. You could
Yeah.
also put on long distance solo mission stuff where you have food, a water purifier, and equipment that would be useful for long excursion missions. Like, I think the suit has a lot of upsides that are kind of overshadowed by the fact that there's no fucking armor.
I mean, and it's going to provide like a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and it would. You know, you're in a skeleton.
It's
But
gonna,
I think this
just
is the
not
most
nearly to the
versatile.
extent.
Well,
This
the
is the
biggest
most
thing you gotta
versatile.
remember.
I feel like Crisis is probably going to be one of the
Well,
most versatile.
Crisis
It's
is
super
adaptable, so
yeah.
you're not going to really beat that. But you can't customize your Crisis suit beforehand, right? Like it's reactive. It's got to adapt to the situation.
It's fair.
And the big thing you got to remember too, in regards to Edge of Tomorrow, they didn't need a lot of armor for what they were doing. So
True.
again, like we look at each one of them, like the Mjolnir armor and stuff like that, they made it to deal with a certain problem and situation. That armor from that, like those aliens didn't shoot anything; they just came at you and stabbed you or threw you at stuff. Like, so they had more like tentacles in a sense than they really had anything else going for them. So they didn't need to prevent that. So the fact that there wasn't a bunch of armor on it didn't really matter because you knew they
Yeah.
once they got
Yeah.
close, they were either going to throw you or stab you anyways.
They're
So
fighting
it
more
shit didn't
animals than they
matter.
are fighting like
An intelligent
army, like,
species.
Yeah, an army that is also flinging projectiles back at you,
Yeah.
which is a fair point because again, the tool, each tool to a purpose, as they
Yep.
say.
So
with that, yeah.
which armors would y'all take out of these four?
Oh, Crisis.
I wouldn't take the Crisis. It's going to be one of the most powerful, but I don't know that I'm needed for that armor. Like it just eats me and keeps going until it's like I need a new one.
until
Pilot
it's done with you.
critically injured. Like
Spits you out and
I
just
don't
goes
know.
where the next person.
Yeah.
The personality eating aspect of the Crisis suit is a big down for me. The process to get to where any of the other ones is also
Yeah,
a
I was
huge
gonna
down.
say.
So, like for safety's sake, man, I'm taking the Exo from Edge of Tomorrow. It leaves me the most intact as an individual, just because
You
of
can just-
all the neural reprogramming that undergoes for the other two suits. Like,
Well, and when you look at Mjolnir, right, which is probably the safest bet for your brain, you only get to wear one if they take you when you're like 6 years old, and
yeah,
like
yeah.
adjust you for it. Because at least with the Space Marine stuff, it'll
Adjust
probably
you.
adjust.
the Space Marine stuff, it'll probably kill you, but at least you can do it when you're 20. Like
You lived.
Yeah, I was like, if you're one of the one out of however
Assuming I
many
could live,
millions, that makes it past the neophyte stage.
But you got to remember, with the Space Marines, you don't get to stay yourself either. All memories of your previous life are gone. You're hypno therapied.
Not on the Space
into-
Wolves. They let you keep the memory of you dying on the battlefield.
Well, yeah,
That's
but
good.
sweet, I get to keep the trauma, big preach. Like my personality back, that'd be cool.
Ah.
So, what are you picking, Ryan? I did
Shit.
Crisis. Travis did Edge. You can pick whichever one you want. Nobody
You know
has
what?
to pick.
I'm
We don't have to all
I'm
pick
throwing the
different.
dice on the Warhammer 40k power armor. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not going to be your problem for very
not my
long as you
problem,
die
yeah.
screaming agony with like a third lung blooming out of your rib cage.
So I'm gonna roll my dice on the power armor. It's what's bad is I think the Space Marine one actually scares me more than the Krynet nano suit. Because it's so
The
terrible.
violence of becoming a
Yeah.
Space Marine is the one that gets me because like that is not a pleasant process at
Not-
any stage.
You know what? No. I'm gonna go Krynet suit, and I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that the computer and the previous personalities are all like Aang Avatar: The Last Airbender style, and
Just-
we can form a plan.
You just
Just
gotta
hoping-
keep yourself relevant.
Just hoping the Tyranid suit that you're wearing doesn't eat you.
Yeah. Which I mean, you know me and biomechanicals. I'm gonna jump on that every time.
If it gives you a tentacle.
Give me some.
What's up,
tentacles.
Bones?
I mean, I think out of these four, I would probably go the Crisis suit. I will, if we have another episode on more power armors later, likely to update my answer. But out of these four, probably Crisis.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
do
like I said,
actually-
playing it safe. Edge of Tomorrow. If I was pigeonholed into be like, you're gonna go to war, which suit do you want to put on? I'd
That
picking,
one.
hey, I'm picking the 40k one, baby. Like, make me a tank.
Right. Roll the dice and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think out of all the stuff, like Crisis would be the most interesting in the 4-way fight. I think it would be the biggest wild card out of the
the
entire thing.
adaptability, the cloak is a huge
cloak.
advantage.
Yeah.
Is
Every armor's got a soft spot somewhere. That's the biggest thing. So I do think out of all four, like Crisis is the wild card. I think Mjolnir, like everybody says, 9 out of 10 times is fucked. But
10 out of 10. I don't see a situation where John is overcoming a Primaris Marine. I really,
100%. One
John,
out of
yes.
10.
No one else,
10%
no.
of the time, 100% he can.
10% of the time it works 100% of the time.
yeah,
Now,
see,
also, we're
Logic,
assuming-
Anchorman.
We're assuming that he's fighting the Space Marines, right? We don't have to go head to head in that power scaling. He could just join with the Space Marines and see what happens.
They're
He
not
doesn't
gonna
like
let him
war
join.
crimes. He doesn't
But-
like war crimes. That's where it backs
Yeah.
off.
Well, he has a like soul
He-
and consciousness and stuff.
He
so
threw a nuke into another ship with no problem.
well, yeah,
That
but he's
wasn't a
just
war
killing
crime.
the bad guys.
Yeah, he was just killing the bad guys. It's different. But so
That's
on that
that's
note,
all the Space Marines have been indoctrinated to believe. That's all this-
right.
except for the salamanders because they're the best. So on that, great episode. We talked a lot about power armor. Next week is going to be another Nerdverse 101. I know it's kind of soon to do another one, but we're doing. Everybody enjoyed the Magic one, so we're going to jump into some tabletop with that one. It's going to be more generic, straight up tabletop. We're not going to really focus on any particular one. Obviously, we'll grab a little bit from every game, but mostly we'll be just discussing some very generic rules and different things, and a little bit of etiquette. We've touched on etiquette so many times,
But it's so
we don't want
important.
to
Like
kill
it's
it
worth
with that.
Yeah, it's
And-
worth.
And that's what I'm
bringing it
saying. It's worth mentioning, but we're not going to go into too much of it. It'll be a lot more some common rules with each game and stuff like that. Like really the bare bones, like have dice and a pencil type deal.
And remember, the purpose and goal of any character development in a tabletop RPG is to have your game master questioning why they decided to do this.
Or wake up that
James
morning.
and I spend a lot of time going back and forth saying how we can go about ruining anything Ryan might have planned.
Yeah.
To the point where it's become almost like a second job. It's actually quite nice. It brings a sense of comfort and accomplishment when Ryan goes on our turns.
And one more thing to look forward to is we have decided to affiliate ourselves with another company. We'll release more hopefully next week. I want to make sure I got everything down, and we'll let people. Hopefully they'll be able to see some stuff. So it's kind of cool. We're getting out there, trying to associate ourselves with more like Survive. Was our first big one, and will continue to be one because they were good.
Such a good game. Go
And we'll
get
take a look back at some other stuff and see who else wants to. But we'll definitely keep it small to things that we give a shit about. We will never affiliate ourselves with anything we're not going to use or do.
Right.
Yep.
Which is why we reviewed Survive before we decided to plug it, because playing it was actually a blast. I really enjoyed that
Absolutely.
game. We should definitely revisit that at some point. But with
The
that, we're
holiday
going to bring
special.
this episode to a close. Next week we're going to be talking tabletop RPG etiquette, rules, some baseline things that you'll need to know. Again, that Nerdverse 101. But before I sign us out completely, we got one last thing from Bones. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, if you made it this far, don't forget, as Ryan would normally say, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff,
right.
comment down. But especially, if you're watching and you're into the power armor thing, leave a comment like what's a power armor you want us to talk about, or out of these 4, which one would you want to wear?
A lot of people are going to
Absolutely.
be picking that cryo suit or crisis suit, I should say. A lot of people picking the nano suit. But with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We are crossing the Nerdverse, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
Goodbyes.
It's nice to say.